If you're looking for a classy and comfortable cruiser that is spacious and feature rich, it is hard to overlook Cadillac's flagship SUV in the Escalade here. As always, I'm going to go through this thing from the outside in, talk about what it's been like to live with for the past week, and go through all the features of this platinum Cadillac Escalade. Let's go ahead and take a look. Underneath the hood, no turbochargers, no superchargers, just a big old V8. This is a 6.2 liter V8, makes 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and the power is going through all four wheels. It is a four-wheel drive system, and we're looking about 14 city, 18 highway in terms of fuel efficiency, so not particularly good, but for something this size, it's not too bad. Now there is an alternative powertrain. Well, there are two alternative powertrains here. You can get the inline 6 turbo diesel. It's a 3 liter, and that one's going to make 460 pound-feet of torque still, but makes a lot less power. But your torque is available a lot earlier in your rev range, so it is going to be it's going to feel a lot quicker, and that's still going to get you the 10-speed auto, and it's still going to be paired to a 4-wheel drive or a 2-wheel drive system. If you go with the supercharged V8, the 6.2 liter V8 like we have here, or with a supercharger in the Escalade V version of this, which is just nuts, then you still get the 10-speed auto, but you get an all-wheel drive system instead of a 4-wheel drive system, and you get gobs more power and torque. That thing is just insane. This Escalade is big, it's imposing, and yet still very classy looking. It's further proof that everything is bigger down in Texas. This thing is built in the Arlington facility. To get an idea of the overall size here, it's 212 inches overall, which is about the same length as the Tacoma double cab 5-foot bed I was in a couple weeks ago. So any other mid-size truck like the Canyon, the Colorado are going to be about the same length here as this thing. It is a full foot longer than the Lexus LX, and this is the smaller version of the Escalade. If you get the ESV, you're up to 227 inches, so add another 15 inches on top of this, then you're looking at like the Tacoma with the double cab and the 6-foot bed. It is just a big vehicle, but it is nice and classy looking. This black with the chrome all around is really just like the epitome of class. Now, this is the premium luxury platinum. If you get the sport platinum, then you'll end up with a lot of gloss black trim all around instead of this chrome trim, but I love the look of this chrome trim. It's sitting on massive 22s with the laser edge Cadillac in the side there. Love the look of these things. Now this has the standard disc brakes on it. You can upgrade to 6-piston Brembos. I would definitely get the 6-piston Brembos. Talk about that a little more during the drive, but if you can option those, I would definitely option those. Now getting in and out of this thing, we do have the touch to lock with the Cadillac crest in there, and the touch to unlock. You can actually touch to unlock from the front or the back. Well, I say touch, you squeeze the little handle in there. You can unlock from the front or the back, but you can only lock from the front there. Nice and easy to open, and you get the assist step coming out. That's the only thing on the outside of this SUV that is not standard. They call it an assist step. I would have called it the escalator with a D. Missed opportunity there, but that's what I would have gone with. And these are soft closed doors. So if your kids, your parents, your grandparents aren't quite strong enough to close the doors, I love that soft closed door. You don't have to worry about it not being closed all the way and having the lights stay on in the truck here. Auto fold, auto dimming, blind spot monitoring, heat in there as well. All the things that you would expect from a luxury level vehicle like this. And there are even puddle lights. They call them puddle lights, It is a massive logo. It's more like a pond light than a puddle light. And then we also have some lights underneath this assist step. I love to see that. In the Tundra that I had a little while ago, I was banging my shins on the assist step. Definitely helps out with this thing. It also has lights on the door handles here as you approach the vehicle. So nice little touches there for the nighttime. The front end here looks great with all of this chrome and the nice new logo going on. You can get a monochrome logo if you're not into the one with all the colors. You can update this whole front end surround here if you don't like the look of this grille. But this is the standard one here on the Platinum. Nice big lights going on down the side. Big LED lights here. You got LED daytime running lights, LED headlights, auto leveling. I am a little bit surprised that there's no adaptive headlights anymore. I don't know if that's a result of some of the supply chain issues in the last couple of years or what, but I was really surprised not to see adaptive headlights that will turn with you with the wheel. You got your parking sensors across the front. You do have the camera up here. Again, we got the full 360 with all kinds of different camera views. Back end here, got the classic long lights going on down the side here, full LEDs on those. We got the brake light up there. We got the hidden windshield wiper in there. So we do have a back wiper. I'm not really using the back windshield anyway. We'll talk about that a little bit during the interior, but I love when they hide the wiper up there. It just keeps it a little bit more of a classy look. Again, we've got the colored logo back here, but you can get a monochrome version if you just want it to be all like chrome colored here. You got your parking sensor. You got your nice big exhaust openings down there. The 600 here, that refers to your torque in Newton meters, interestingly enough. So it's 600 Newton meters of torque out of this engine. So the numbers for the turbo diesel and for this version with the V8, they both have the exact same amount of torque. And we do have kick to open. Actually, at night, there will be a little Cadillac logo will pop down from underneath here, so it'll tell you exactly where to kick. Got decent space back here. It's about 25.5 cubic feet of space. Again, if you get the ESV version of this car, then you're going to get even more space back here. You got your sub back here. You got these buttons off to the side here to easily lower and raise both the third row and the second row. Actually, you can do that from buttons back here. And we've got another 120 volt underneath here. Got a little bit more space, not a whole lot going on there. Can get a privacy cover if you want. The spare is not down here in this area. The spare is actually underneath. It's mounted underneath the car. It's going to be a 17-inch spare, but nice to see that is an actual spare and not just a fix-a-flat kit. Now, of course, you can also open it up with this sort of standard GM key, but it's got the Cadillac logo. But you can also pop the glass open with this, and you can start the car up nice and easily. Don't have to lock it, unlock it, anything like that. Just tap that twice to turn it on. If the Durango Hellcat was Pimp My Ride, this is more MTV Cribs. It is crazy how many features are going on in here, how comfortable this thing is. It pretty much has every feature you could ask for, and then 10 more you wouldn't even think to ask for. It wouldn't even come to your mind. And we'll start all the way in the back here where the features are a little bit more scarce, and we'll move up to the good stuff up at the front. Now in the back here, usually the third row is for people without legs, people you don't like very much, or maybe small children. Me at 5'7" with these captain's chairs all the way back, I fit perfectly fine. You want to move these seats forward a little bit. If you're 6 feet, 6'1", you'd probably still be okay back here. That's how much room is back here. Nice and comfortable. Usually you get gypped in terms of features all the way in the back as well. Oh, we've got cup holders, we've got USB-Cs, we've got our own vents going on, we've got our own light going on. And if you can't, and if you're worried that you're not going to be part of the conversation up front, or maybe you're a little hard of hearing, or you're putting your parents back here, your grandparents, and they're a little hard of hearing, well, there's a button on the steering wheel up there that will allow the sound to go through the speakers, so you can still communicate very easily with the front seats, as long as the driver wants you to. And as we move up to the second row captain's chairs here, these are super comfortable. Again, the semi-aniline leather. These are heated, standard in the platinum trim levels and above. You got your own HVAC controls back here. You can adjust those as the driver as well from the infotainment screen. Got cup holders down here. We got USB-Cs. There's an HDMI ports. There are 2 of them. There's an AC adapter, your standard outlet as well, your standard 120. And this is just a super comfortable, nice spot to be. Got my own light, my own vent, some speakers there, speakers over here, more of the semi-aniline leather all over the place. I do wish there was a sunshade. I'm kind of surprised that there's not a sunshade here, but not really the end of the world. Do have a grab handle, nice to see there. Of course, why do we need an HDMI port down there though? Well, because we have a TV. Why wouldn't we have a TV here? And each kid gets their own TV because, of course, you don't want them fighting over what they're gonna watch. They can each watch their own thing. You're worried about the noise getting a little bit too crazy? Well, they have their own Bluetooth headphones in each of these pockets here for their own TV. You can watch YouTube, plug in to the HDMI port, a couple of different things you can watch. And if you're a concerned parent, you're a little bit worried about what they're going to get into on YouTube, well, you can monitor what they're watching up there. It'll even tell you what the commercial is up in that infotainment up there. You can keep an eye on them. We got the massive sunroof too, all the way back here, tons of light. This is a great, comfortable place to be. I would have no issues sitting back here for hours. And I've got plenty of room here if I do need to move up a little bit for somebody behind me that's a little bit on the tall side, then I can do that as well, or I can fold them flat. Say you have a dog in here, maybe a 60-pound dog for a long car ride, and you need them to be able to walk around, slobber on the person in the back as a hypothetical situation when you're driving to Virginia from Connecticut. Not that that would ever happen. Now let's move up to the good stuff all the way up in the front. Not that this isn't good stuff, this is crazy, but let's move up to the front where it really gets good. Now they had it pretty good in that second row, but up here in the front, you have it even better. Again, the semi-aniline leather here for the front seats. They're heated, they're ventilated, both out of the box for the platinum trim, and they have a massage function as well. And it is legit. There are 6 different choices for the massage function and 3 different intensities for each one. I've been using that all the time. It is excellent. Nice leather wrap steering wheel here. You got that button that I mentioned for talking to the people in the back. I got some wood trim through here. We'll talk about this up top for the Super Cruise feature, as well as the driver monitor. Got the nice big display here for the gauge cluster. And of course, it's not just a regular gauge cluster. You can adjust what information shows there, but you can also change it to augmented reality where you have a camera feed coming out of the front, just showing through there. There's night vision, because of course there's night vision, but that one is a $2,000 option. That one did have to be added on to this particular trim. And there's a touchscreen off to the side here where you can pick what you want to show up. You can adjust your heads-up display settings. You can see a little bit of information over here as well, like your fuel economy and your trip odometer. You got the infotainment system through here, which is nice and easy to use, nice and quick. There been a couple of things that have been a little bit laggy here, but for the most part, it's been pretty quick and pretty easy to use. You can control the TVs back there. You can adjust the HVAC back there. You got your ambient lighting settings. You got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay are both standard wireless through this system. Your park assist is through here as well. There's a camera. I found out this morning that you can drag and drop stuff from on the main menus here into this little quick access menu on the left. I would definitely put the camera in there because that is a nice feature to be able to easily get to. You got real physical switches across here for all your HVAC controls. Love to see that. Your auto start stop. We got controls down here for the infotainment if you're somebody that prefers to use knobs and buttons over using the touchscreen here. Wireless charger. I'm not sure. I like the idea here. It holds the phone in securely, but it also holds a lot of the heat in, so it has been overheating a little bit. lately. More of this wood trim, USB-A, USB-C, a couple of cup holders, some spot for some change. And in here, it's not just a center console. That's boring. If it was just a little bit more space in there. It's actually a fridge slash freezer. You get two different settings over here, whether you want it to be a fridge or a freezer, or turn that off completely, because of course you need that. And it's not just a cooler. It's not just like, oh, you threw something cold in there and it'll stay cold. That is legitimately cooling stuff down. I threw my water bottle in there for about 5 minutes and it was ice cold by the time I took it out. That is an additional option that is not standard on the Platinum trim levels, that you do have to add about $700 for that. But that is a crazy feature that is great for long road trips. Definitely throw some sandwiches in there and they'll be good to go. Your air suspension, your trailer controls over here, your driving modes over here as well. Your heated and cooled seat buttons are off to the left here on the door. Those are automatic as well. So if you start up the car with the remote start, the heat or ventilated seat and the heated steering wheel will just do their own thing. If it's really cold out, the heat will come on. If it's really hot out, then the cooled seats will come on automatically. Nice little touch there. We got speakers all over the place. This one has 36 speakers in it, including in these headrests. There's 2 in each of these front headrests here. Who needs 36 speakers? And the base one only gets 19 speakers. You'd think, where do you even put 19 speakers? That's got to be pretty great. 36 has to be a gimmick, right? Well, it sounds incredible. It sounds really, really good. And I feel bad for the next car I'm going to get into, because I'm probably going to give that sound system a not so great review, because it's going to sound like crap compared to this. But it really is like a full surround sound. Very, very good sound system. If you like music at all, I would definitely want the 36 speaker sound system. We got your controls for your nice giant pano sunroof here as well. You can tilt, you can slide, you can knock down the second row seats from here if you need to. You can open the hatch, you got your home link up here as well. You got the digital mirror. I love to see a digital mirror, especially in something this giant. That means that the backup cam back there is feeding through here, through the mirror, and I can see unobstructed out the back, which is a big problem in a big thing like this typically. So love to see that. And well, what if it gets dirty? That's going to be a problem, right? It gets snowy, it gets dirty, whatever happens, it's going to be a problem, and you won't have any view out the back. Well, luckily you just hit your rear wiper here and that will clean off the camera, because of course they thought of that. I've been daily driving this Escalade for the last week, and there are certain things that you just expect. You expect it to be quiet, you expect it to be comfortable. At this price point, this badge, it's got to do those things, and it does. You know, the road noise when you get up on a really rough highway and you're going fast does have a little bit of road noise coming through, kind of to be expected. But other than that, it's nice and quiet. It is very smooth. It has magnetic ride, which can make a Corvette smooth, so it definitely makes this thing feel nice and smooth. And then we got the big long wheelbase. Plus, the air suspension is not just for ease of entry exit, it also helps with that ride quality quite a bit. There are a couple of different settings you can set the air suspension to. There's a normal, there's a high, and then there's like the entry exit where it'll go up and down depending on whether you're turning it off to get out or get in, or whatever you're doing with it. So that's a pretty nice little feature, but it will also just help with the ride quality here quite a bit and keep it nice and smooth. And then if you use your different driving modes, it will adjust there as well. So your suspension will get nice and stiff if you go into sport mode. Stiff for better handling, I don't know. But this thing isn't exactly something that needs a sport mode. I've just been leaving it in normal mode because it defaults to normal mode when you turn it on, and that's been totally fine for what this thing is used for. I have used sport mode a little bit, haven't noticed a huge difference, and the suspension never really gets harsh anyway. But the other things those are going to do, it'll raise you up if you go into off-road mode. that it'll raise you up in the suspension, that it'll adjust your shift points if you're like towing something, or if you're in off-road, or if you're in sport mode, it'll adjust your shift points, be a little more aggressive, a little less aggressive, depending on what it is you're doing. I don't remember the last Escalade. I was in one of the last gen Escalades a few years ago, and I don't remember the brakes being quite this soft. Maybe somebody was, had too many track days in this thing. It only has 3,000 miles on it. I don't think that's the problem. I think the brakes are just a little bit soft from the factory. So if you can option those Brembo brakes, the 6-piston Brembos, I think those would help immensely. I don't think it's dangerous, but momentum is a hell of a drug, and getting this thing stopped is a little bit harder than I think it should be. Now, I mentioned getting moving. When you are at a full stop, you do have the auto start stop in this thing. That is standard, which means that the engine will shut off when you're at a light, when you're at a stoplight. And then when you go over to the gas, it'll spark back up. Now, it's pretty quick about it. As long as you're not trying to street race Supras from light to light, you'll be okay. If you are, then you're going to want to turn that off. But as far as, normal daily driving, nice and smooth and casual driving, you'll be fine. Once you take your foot off the brake, get over to the gas, it will be sparked up, it'll be ready to go. It's a pretty seamless application of it, and there's no big shudder or anything. It's not like an uncomfortable experience like some cars with the auto start and stop are. And when it comes to driver's assist features on this thing, so there are a few things for 2024, Super Cruise is now standard on everything but the base. Last year, it was an option on everything but the base. This year, it's standard on everything but the base. The price also went up, so they're going to get their money either way. But Super Cruise is excellent. We'll talk about that in a minute, but first I want to just talk about visibility here real quick, because this thing is huge, and visibility is a problem with these cars getting bigger and bigger, especially out the front. You got this big, high front end. You can't really see anything down in front of you, and the back, it's really hard to see out the back with all this space in here with how far back that back window is. So they have done a great job with figuring that stuff out, because in addition to like the regular pedestrian monitoring, front and rear, and the braking, the automatic braking front and rear, it's got these nice big mirrors that help you see really, really well. Rear cross traffic alert. It's got this augmented reality thing that you can put in here that I mentioned, where you can see everything in front of you. So like if I'm dropping my kid off at daycare, I can turn that on, make sure there aren't any little kids running around in front of me. This digital mirror here that I mentioned is excellent. So I've got a completely unobstructed view to the back, so I can see if there's a kid running out behind me or anything like that. It is great. And the best thing about this digital mirror is that I can turn it to however I want, to however it's comfortable. I don't have to worry about it being aimed directly at the back. I can make sure it's aimed right at my face, and I have a clear view of it. It's also got the heads-up display with the speed limit, current speed, any driver's assist stuff that you have turned on. All of that stuff works really well together. And of course, it's got adaptive cruise. Even if you don't get Super Cruise, if you're in the base, you still get the adaptive cruise. And the adaptive cruise system works great, works all the way down to full stop and go. And that's really where it shines very, very well as you're in stop and go traffic. Super Cruise is this combination of lane centering, adaptive cruise, but it's actually a hands-free system, whereas a lot of the other ones in a lot of the other companies, other than Blue Cruise and I guess the full self-driving, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but like Blue Cruise is a hands-free system as well from Ford, but this one works very, very well. So it keeps you centered in your lane. You just hit the little button right here, keeps you centered in your lane. It'll do the adaptive cruise thing where it'll get, adjust your distance from here to the person in front of you. It has this nice green light here to tell you that it's active, and it will even change lanes for you if you want it to. You can turn that setting off if you don't like that. That is in the infotainment settings, but if you just want it to do its own thing, change lanes, it'll pass people, but it will tell you when it's going to do it. So if it's about to go past somebody, it's going to turn left. There will be an indicator down here that says, hey, I'm about to pass somebody. I'm going to go into the left lane. It'll buzz on the left side of the seat. It's doing it right now. It'll put your turn signal on. It'll do it for you. It'll turn off the turn signal. It'll tell you lane change is complete. And it goes left a little bit more than it goes right, which is, it kind of makes sense because you're not really passing people on the right, really. You shouldn't be, but it will occasionally go back into the right lane. And if you find an opening yourself and you want it to go back to the right lane, and it's not doing it on its own, you just hit the turn signal and it will do it for you. Pretty cool system. You know, I'm not really into like the whole hands-free thing. I like to be involved. I don't necessarily trust these systems a lot because I just, you know, maybe I'm just a control freak or something, but I don't necessarily trust these systems a lot. But this one has been very, very good. And I like how it's so communicative. Like if your face is blocked here, it has to be able to see your face. There's a little detector right here. If it can't see your face, it'll flash at you, tell you, hey, you're gonna have to take control soon. It'll turn blue if it's like not quite ready. It'll turn red if it needs you to take control right now. It'll also buzz at you. It'll also give you an indication down here. By buzz, I don't mean like harsh buzz. I mean like your seat will vibrate. It really is a very, very good system. I did mention this, it has the 4x4. There is also a 4x2 version of this, but the 4x4, this one here, it has the electronic LSD, the limited slip differential, to help limit slip between the wheels. So if one wheel starts to spin, then it'll help, you know, send the power to the wheel that has traction. And if you get the base version, then you're going to have the mechanical limited slip differential. Get the trailering package. I believe you also get a floor low. I believe that also gives you another air suspension setting, but this one here does not have the trailering package. The trailering package also lets you tow up to 8,200 pounds. So it does not have the trailering package, but it still does have some trailer controls over here. Still got the trailer blind spot. You still get the hitch view. You get a lot of stuff for it. If you're just towing stuff regularly that's not gigantic, then you still have some good features for that. I've been leaving the drivetrain in auto most of the time, which means that most of the time it's just going to be two-wheel drive. It's going to be better for efficiency, and most of the time you don't need all four wheels involved. It'll get the other two wheels involved as needed. At the end of the day, the Escalade offers everything you could possibly ask for in this class of vehicle and then some. It is a steep price point here with this one, option out to $120,000. They do start a lot cheaper, but this particular one is $120,000. But every penny is accounted for, and if you look at the competition, actually is quite a competitive price here. So if you're looking for a big luxury cruiser with lots of great features, great sound system, you got the fridge, you got the assist steps, great lighting, air suspension, very comfortable, very classy, I would definitely check one of these out. As always, I hate to be the guy to say hit all the YouTube buttons, but please hit like, hit share, tell your friends. Tell somebody looking at one of these cars, somebody looking at one of the other cars I've reviewed on my channel. Let me know if you're looking for a specific car for me to review. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.